Heyo, and welcome back to Wonderlands gamers. I hope you've all been doing well. Today I have a bunch of news to share with you about Wonderlands, including but not limited to the Steam release of the game, which is way earlier than expected. We kind of just all assumed it was going to be 6 months like it was for Borderlands 3. Yeah, it's out right now at the same time as I posted this video. And if you guys would like to, you can use my affiliate link, which is in the description or in the pinned top comment, which means I get financial compensation whenever you use my link. Essentially, you can buy the game for the exact same price. You guys get an exclusive cosmetic, which you can use in game, which is cool. And I get paid. It's like a win-win situation. And I do very much appreciate anybody that does use it. Helps me out a bunch and supports the channel. On top of that, though, we have a bunch more stuff to cover, including a level cap, a DLC, a huge patch, which includes a lot of buffs, by the way, and some fixes. Also, the new character got announced. There's just a lot of stuff. So from the top, yes, I did say level cap increase. Not technically a level cap in this game. It's a chaos tier increase. We're going to chaos 50, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, I'm honestly surprised they didn't drop it at DLC 2 after they dropped chaos 35 so early. But here we are. Chaos 50 is out, and we also have a new chaos tier legendary called Ascended. So now we have the Chaotix, Volatiles, Primordials, and the Ascended items. There's also a new Chaos Chamber run called Boss Run, which didn't come with a description, but my assumption is it's kind of like what the community was suggesting, that the rooms either all have a boss in them or it's just a room with a lot of bosses in it. I don't know. We'll have to find out when the patch comes out tonight, / as soon as this video is out, the patch will be out. DLC 3 is also out, which is just another Bearer of Mystery. Likely the same as the rest, but yeah, hopefully there's some worthwhile loot in it, fingers crossed. Speaking of which, the drops in the Wheel of Fate have actually increased by 50%, so hopefully that's considerably better now, because I know that was like the main way to get the DLC 2 items, and it was painfully slow, at least in my experience. I was getting 0 luck. So there's been a substantial increase to the drops, the dedicated DLC drops, for the ones that you own, by the way, which is really good. And there are a few other adjustments there, generally just increasing the drops that the wheel will give you. There's also a bunch of other random bug fixes in and out of the DLCs, which I won't bore you with, but like there's UI fixes in that list, so fingers crossed the bank isn't as wonk as it is anymore. You can also now enchant the Thunder Enema, the Donkey, the Birthright, the Goblin Repellent, and the Cow Cane, if that's how you pronounce it. All of those weapons couldn't drop with enchantments, and you couldn't roll an enchantment onto them, but they can now do that, thankfully. Took a little while, but we're here. Also, the Shell Casing Ring got a buff, which is the one that gives you more damage the lower you are on ammo. Particularly good for melee builds where you're holding the Livewire SMG. It gives you now 66% boost instead of a 50% boost, and also that effect is now triggered after you're below, or I believe it's at and below 50% ammo remaining in your weapon, which was only 30 originally, so that's a considerable increase, which I'm very happy to see. Also, speaking of the Livewire, it has been changed, not severely, surprisingly. It was only a minor change. If you didn't know, the Livewire chain scaled based off the amount of bullets left in your weapon. If it only had 1 bullet or 0 bullets left, the chain reaction would do incredible amounts of damage. They've actually removed that mechanic, so the chain always does the same amount of damage as it did when you were at 0 bullets. Essentially making it easier to use or kind of buffing it, but then they're also nerfing that chain damage, but only by 12.5%, which if you've used or seen a melee build be used before, yeah, that's not going to hurt it much, if at all. So that's a change. Skill adjustments, there's actually quite a few of them, but most of them just seem like normal fixes. But they did chuck in there, they try to, sneak it in. Burr's Blast Shield and Greyborn's Blast Gasp have not been scaling as intended. So that's in there. I assume by the wording, that usually means it's being nerfed, but we'll have to see by how much. It might be just in weird circumstances. I guess we'll see. The featured run this week is actually really cool because it was actually chosen by the Wonderlands community Discord, and they decided for every room to be mimics. Yeah, every single room is just mimics. And then the bosses, for some reason, are Drill and Ribula. I don't know how they arrived on that. They started with the great memes of the mimics, and then Drill and Ribula. But it's going to be interesting. I'm keen to check it out. And now, time for some buffs, ladies and gentlemen. There is a bunch of spell buffs this week, which if you guys didn't notice, they've been doing each of the classes each week in the hotfix / patches, where they've just been buffing shotguns, SMGs, snipers, etc. And this week, it's the spells. The Barrel Maker's damage and status effect damage has been increased by 100% each, which is huge. The Dazzler's cooldown has been reduced from 18 seconds to just 12 seconds, and its damage has been increased by, wait for it, 268%, which is crazy. followed by the frozen orbs damage has been increased by 275%. They've been doing relatively pretty small adjustments in the previous hotfixes and patches, but they're just going all out with this one. Also, it says, note the frozen orb has a known issue where it fails to collide with some enemies. This will be fixed in a future update, which we love to see that kind of communication. The gelatinous sphere, which is called the cube actually, but it's written as sphere in the patch notes. The damage is increased by 100% as well. The status effect damage of it has been increased by 20%, and its cooldown has been reduced from 24 seconds to just 9 seconds. Whereas my cube enjoyers out there. The Cascade, that one with all the ice spikes everywhere, super keen for that one. Its damage is being increased by 30%. The Laser Hands damage has been increased by 525%. That may be the single greatest buff to an individual item I've seen in a Borderlands game in a singular hotfix or patch I've ever seen. Try out the Laser Hand. The Reviver spell's damage has been increased by 38%, and on top of that, its Seeker projectile damage scaling has been increased by 100% as well. Haven't actually used that spell, so I'm a little lost on that, but 2 buffs sounds nice. Its cooldown has also been reduced from 36 seconds to just 24 seconds. The Saw Blades damage has been increased, and its status effect damage has been increased both by 100%. The time skips damage has been increased by 100%. Also has a little side note here that they are aware of a bug that is causing the time skips damage overtime effect to not apply properly. That'll be fixed in a future update. Again, appreciate that communication. The Thread of Fate damage scaling has been increased by 50%. The inflammation spell charges are increased by 3. I don't know what was on originally, but it's got 3 extra now. I assume that is a base thing, or that might be a part roll. We'll see. The inflammation's damage and status effect damage increased by 30% as well. And finally, the Twister's damage has been increased by 10%. That is the craziest list of buffs I've ever seen. And we're not done. Class adjustments, they do say they don't want to be doing too many of these just before the new character comes out, which I'll show you guys in a second, by the way. But we have a few changes for Spell Shot, a couple of nerfs, nothing too severe, but Spell Weaving adjusted spell damage per stack from 10% to 8%, and Magic Bullets adjusted the amount of spell damage that is applied to the gun damage from 15% to 12.5. Small increments, not going to make too much of a difference to the GOAT of Spell Shot. Clawbringer changes, though, pretty substantial. They do say that they've noticed it's still underperforming. So Storm Smite has been increased base damage by 33%, and I believe it's pronounced Blastomit's Favor. I probably scuffed that. But increased fire ability damage on gun kill by 25%, and increase lightning ability damage on melee damage kill by 33%. Both great buffs there. And then Indomitable decrease the cooldown duration from 120 seconds to 100 seconds, which I guess is good as well. So actually solid buffs for Clawbringer. We also got a bit of a sneak peek of the new character dropping with DLC 4, which is not tonight, but in about a month or so when we're expecting DLC 4 to drop, called the Blight Caller, which does have some art shared on Twitter, which I'll show you guys on screen if you guys didn't see it. Plus a bit of a description on their website saying this shamanic elementalist channels spirits and summons storms to wear down foes with poison and elemental damage, which seems really cool. I'm interested to find out more, see their skill tree, how they work with other characters. If you guys have any ideas what you think it's going to do, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, if you guys have picked up the game on Steam, feel free to use the affiliate code. It is much appreciated. Hashtag ad and that stuff. But yeah, much appreciated. Have a fantastic day, gamers. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, adios.